This is Sirach chapter 7 and verse 1. It says, "Do no evil, so shall no harm come unto thee." All right, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the elders at Great Millstone who taught me this truth. And Shalom, peace, blessings, and safety to you brothers and you few sincere sisters out there. All right, Shalom. I wanted to go into something that I saw in the news. All right, which was these drill rappers. All right, they got sentenced. All right, to I think it was life or very high numbers in prison. All right, for murder. All right, and this just kind of came across my feed, and it got me thinking about how the Lord is bringing judgment on these drill rappers. These so-called musical artists who make music about, killing their own people and selling drugs and committing adultery, all right, and going to prison, all right, like that's some kind of a badge of honor, all right. So I'm going to let this play. This is protected under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, all right, fair use, fair use.
Now back to our top story right now on News4Jax.com. Guilty verdicts in the closely watched murder trial of Jacksonville rapper Akeem Queso Robinson and his co-defendant Leroy Whitaker. This case stems from the 2020 shooting death of 23-year-old Charles Little Buck McCormick Jr. News4Jax reporter Brianna Brownlee joining us live from the courthouse after following this trial every step of the way. And Brianna, tell us more about the moment that verdict came down.
Yes, it was much emotion in that courtroom as both verdicts came out. Now, no one said anything, but the expression on everyone's face said it all. Now, on the left side, you had Whitaker Jr. and Hakeem Robinson's family on the left fighting back tears. And on the right, you had Charles McCormick Jr.'s family also fighting back tears as they heard justice be served for their loved ones. Now, the prosecutors as well as McCormick Jr.'s family did not want to speak. However, Whitaker Jr.'s family did react to the verdict.
I think I really need an oxygen tank right now. I can't breathe really, like, I don't know. I've never been in this situation. It's my child,
The father of Leroy Whitaker Jr. speaking with News4Jax after he heard the verdict for his son. You can't see him, but after the verdict was read, Leroy Whitaker Jr. turned to his father. His dad looked back and gave him a thumbs up and forced a smile.
We love him. We're going to continue to love him. We're not giving up on him. He's not going to be someone that's just in prison by himself. I'm there with him. And I'm going to continue to be there with him.
Guilty on the counts of first-degree murder and burglary. It took Whitaker Jr.'s jury a little over 2 hours to reach his decision. This photo Leroy Whitaker Sr. shared with us was the last time he posed with his son. And of course, speaking of your child, the fact that, when that verdict came in, you couldn't even hold him or do anything. Just walk us through how that probably felt.
Like I say, I feel like a fire truck just ran into me, man. And backed up, put it back in drive, and ran over me again.
We tried to also speak with McCormick's family. However, they declined, and we respect their decision.
Yeah, so there you have it. The Lord is bringing judgment, okay, on these drill rappers, on these people, those of our people that love violence. All right, the Lord is showing you that He is not pleased with that. Okay, let's get Jeremiah 2:21. Yet I had planted thee a noble vine, wholly a right seed. How then art thou turned into the degenerate plant of a strange vine unto me? And that's speaking about our people, okay? Our people have become degenerates, a degenerate plant here in America, Babylon the Great, okay? This polluted soil, all right? It's completely, we've been completely corrupted over here, all right? This is Psalms 11:5. Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai trieth the righteous, but the wicked and him that loveth violence, his soul hateth. Okay? So if you love violence, the Most High hates you. Okay? And and hate means just to strongly dislike. All right? It means to strongly dislike somebody. All right? Or something. Okay? you know, and you don't want the Most High to hate you, all right? You don't want the Most High or his son to have a negative feeling about you, you know? That's not good, you know? And this is this is the Lord showing you, all right, that he is not pleased with drill rappers and gangster rappers and, you know, being a gangbanger and being a criminal, being a murderer, okay? What do these YNs say? They say catching hats, you know, when they're talking about, you know, murdering somebody, they say, you know, I'm going to catch a hat, you know. Most High's not with that, all right? He's not with that at all. I think I read this when I started. But, you know, we can read it again. Sirach 7:1. Do no evil, so shall no harm come unto thee. All right, this would not have happened to these people, if they were not doing evil. All right, depart from the unjust, and iniquity shall turn away from thee. Right, you got to cut these people off, man. All right, if you were doing this in the world, you know, because we have new brothers and sisters coming into this every day, you know, you might have been a gangbanger in the world, and now the Lord brought you into the gospel. He's called you to repentance. All right, no more hanging out with Pookie and Ray Ray and them. All right, you got to cut them off. All right, you can be forgiven for that. You can even be forgiven for murder. You know, if you're one of the elect, then the Lord will give you a big spanking. All right, on this side, He's going to give you a big punishment, and then He's going to forgive you. All right, let's get Romans 8. And I want to say, 33. Romans 8:33. Who shall lay anything to the charge of the Most High's elect? It is the Most High that justifieth. So if you're watching this and you were involved in that lifestyle and, you know, you're called to repentance, all right, you know, then you may be one of the elect, you know, and the Lord is going to chasten you, all right, and you're going to repent wholeheartedly, and then He's going to save you if you're one of the elect. Let's get this: sure mercies of David, because that is what the elect have. The sure mercies of David. All right. Isaiah 55:3. Incline your ear and come unto me. Hear, and your soul shall live. And I will make an everlasting covenant with you, even the sure mercies of David. And that is what the elect of our people, the remnant, the 1/3 from here in Babylon the Great, as well as the rest of the great multitude scattered throughout the four winds of the earth. All right. And the 144,000 is a portion of that, you know, it's a portion of that great multitude, you know, and, you know, some of the 144,000 are in the spiritual realm, you know, a large portion of them are here. Of course, we don't know the percentages. All right. But, you know, the 144,000 is a part of that 1/3, and that large multitude scattered throughout the four winds. You have the 144,000 within that. Okay. Just for edification's sake. All right. And where am I getting the 1/3, 2/3 concept from? Zechariah 13:8. And it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Lord, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein. What does it mean? The land is speaking about America, aka Babylon the Great. The people, or the 2 parts, is 2/3 of all the Israelites. Okay, if you had a pie and you slice it into 3 equal parts, the 2 parts is the 2/3 that are going to be cut off and die here in America, and the 1/3 is the part that's going to be saved for salvation. Okay, or saved when Yahushua comes back with the angels and beam up the elect. All right, into the so-called spaceships. All right, you can read about that. 1 Thessalonians 4:16 on down. 1 Corinthians 15:50 on down. All right, it's in the book of Revelation. A cloud received them out of their sight. Slakia, kind of blinking. Get that actually. Cloud received. This is Acts 1:9, where Yahushua was taken up into a spaceship. All right. See, their enemies beheld them. Yep. This is Revelation 11:12. And they heard a great voice from heaven, saying unto them, Come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, spaceship, a so-called UFO, all right? One of the chariots of the Lord. And their enemies beheld them, you see? So that's what's going to happen to the elect, okay? So I just wanted to bring that out too, you know. But speaking about these drill rappers, all right, one of the big ones is Lil Durk, all right, and this was a while ago, you know. This article came out June 9th, 2025. Rapper Lil Durk won't get out on bail in murder for hire case. You know, he had all these riches and stuff. You know, he sold out to Esau, of course. You know, we already know what Jake does when he sells out to Esau in these small hatters, these music moguls. We already know the sick, abominable acts that he has to do. All right, but you know, he's not getting out of prison. All right, he's through. All right, he's gonna be more than likely he's gonna be right in that jail cell when these missiles hit. All right, and he's gonna burn in that jail cell. All right. And this is judgment, all right? Lil Durk pushed all this demonic, violent drill music. You know, who knows what he was involved in, you know, but the Lord is not with that. He's not impressed by it, okay? He's not pleased with it, all right? Let's get this, of course, you know, in the Ten Commandments, Exodus 20:13, it says, thou shalt not kill, okay? And ultimately that goes into, you know, thou shalt not murder, you know, thou shalt not kill unjustly, okay? Because when Yahushua comes back, he's going to be doing a lot of killing, but it's all going to be justified, okay? He's going to be killing the enemies of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. All right, these heathen nations which have given us pure hell and are complete scumbags, especially these goddamn Edomites, the so-called white man, all right, and his descendants, okay? He's going to be doing a lot of slaying righteously of these dirty heathens, okay? And of the 2/3 of our people, some of them are going to be destroyed by Yahushua and the angels, okay? Why? For their own wickedness, you know? And that's it, you know? But, you know, I think that's it. That's all I really got, you know? You know, the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is not with drill rap, okay? So I'm going to end it right there. I'm going to say all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakah Kodash, double honors to the elders at Great Millstone who taught me this truth. And Shalom, peace, blessings, and safety to you brothers and sisters out there. Shalom.